the trials of the HAP organization merging up. I remember one of the more nervous processes that we had to do was, okay, Tom worked with Gideon for how many years? It was 5 or 6.
3.
Was that all it was? 3?
Yeah, that's it, man.
But it was a comfort level there, right? And so then all of a sudden these Star Princess guys are coming in and they're going to be working with the Holland guys now, and all of a sudden it's a different world. And I remember us coming down here, meeting with you and Laz, and you couldn't have been more gracious about it. Where's Lazarus?
Jack's Pratt, I think, or tables.
At Jack's Pratt. No, we were at Jack's Pratt. We sat down and had lunch there. And, you want to know about the free cruise? You want to know about, you know, what's in it for me? When's the Christmas party? Are you guys going to do good food? And, no, so I made some notes and I was trying to remember all the things I wanted to talk about, and I won't go too far, but I always look forward to your handwritten letters that we get every couple weeks about what's going on. And Maureen can attest that I think, where's Maureen at? Can attest that if you weren't typing for him, it wasn't happening, right? So we would get handwritten letters. I've still got most of them, and I can remember you started them out, Men of Portage. We always enjoyed those letters and keeping up with what's going on, a lot of detail, with always a sense of humor rolled in too, which we very much appreciate, Tom, and we'll miss that as much as anything. I also brought a prop, my favorite office prop that I had in my office.
I know what this is.
This is a candy bar. But Captain Tom welcomes you aboard the MV Ptarmigan, and I remember going into Gideon's office one day. Gideon had one on his desk. And I think I called you right away and go, hey, what the heck, man? How come he's got one and I don't? So I gave you a bunch of crap about it, and like 3 weeks later, I got one. And I know you were giving these out to kids back in the day, maybe, for coming through. And
I'll explain that real briefly. He's a friend of mine named John Gomes. He's a photographer. I knew him when I lived in Cordova. And he had these made up. He made 25 of them up. And tried to sell the company on buying 10,000 of them, but they wouldn't do it. So that's a rare item there. I came out to the crew. I had with me, I had some Eastern European kids. One of them ripped it open and ate it.
It's an antique candy bar.
I've been tempted over the years because I get a little hungry once in a while.
Oh, that's a Hershey bar inside.
So I wrote Jen, the other thing I appreciated was the written summaries of all the numbers, right? I can remember when we walked in the office a number of times. Every year you'd walk me in and we'd expect Maureen to have this whole thing typed out for us at ridership and the whole and it was all written on a wall in Tom's office, literally written on the wall in the years 1992, 93, 94. I got pictures of those, and that's how we tracked our ridership for many years. And I just heard from Marcel. What was the number, Marcel, we hit this year?
Well, he knows the final count.
30,618.
It's pretty darn good, considering we got down probably in the 19 range there for a while, if I recall.
I'm not sure, but we also made 612 trips.
Wow.
So this will be a record year revenue-wise for Portage since Holland America built this boat and put it in the lake, brought every one of their cruise tour guests to Portage as part of the fill for taking two nights in Alaska in Anchorage. And since then, the market changed and people didn't want to spend 2 nights in Anchorage, so
Pressure's on, Marcel.
So Holland America didn't need the full day tour out to Portage. I mean, when Gideon and I were drivers in this town, we'd send 7, 8 coaches out to Portage every day. In the morning, in the afternoon, you had to have a route and do this whole specific stuff. And Janet Pargetter, your old friend, would call us up and harass us if the coaches were 5 minutes early or late, and we'd have big fights and whatnot. And
but she smiled all the time.
She did smile all the time. And we always knew who was in charge down here, and that was Tom. So I'm rambling, so I'll pass it. But we, on a personal level, man, I look forward to coming down here every time. I can't tell you how many kids you've probably rode with, right? I mean, I think everybody talks about Tom being nice to their kids when they bring them on the boat, right? So Marcel's great, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Okay, so we're gonna miss that. We're gonna miss that as much as anything. And our loss, your gain, Maureen. So we're gonna miss Tom. We hope that he comes and visits. And you got lifetime cruise privileges, as you can imagine. Train privileges.
Train privileges.
You can always be on my friends and family list as long as you want to be. I'll always keep you on there. That's the cruise benefit that we have for some of our friends and family, which we count you in as too. So salute our friend Tom. I'm sure more people will tell a story. We'd love to hear from you, but anybody else want the floor? We're happy to have it. So, Congratulations, Tom.
Cheers.
We better drink to that, huh?
Can I make a speech?
Of course.
Could we stop? Oh.
Last call.
This is short. I know I'm famous for my rambling stories.
We love them.
And I rarely get it before a group to talk. Once in a while it happens. You know, my wife over there cringes. She's in all turmoil inside because she doesn't know what I'm going to say. First of all, I didn't know I knew this many people, much less this many people that had enough regard for me to show up. This is kind of like a funeral. You know, you go gather for somebody that isn't going to be around anymore, and you say nice things about them. But
He's here. A living
the
funeral.
benefit here is the honoree gets to hear it.
That's right.
Anyway, I want to tell a serious story. Maureen might know of this, none of the rest of you do. You'll find this hard to believe, but in a former life, years and years ago, before I came to Princess in Holland, America, and a couple jobs in between, I was actually let go as a captain. Can you believe that? No. I was, by a big institution I won't embarrass by naming. It was a bad deal. Had vowed ice, me not taking their ship into the ice, wouldn't do it, and they wanted me to. And yeah, it was embarrassing, humiliating, lost my pay and this and that, but you know the worst thing about it? The worst thing, and this has bothered me for 30 years. The sons of bitches didn't give me a retirement party. I'm serious. I harbored that in my back of my heart for all those years, and I didn't learn about this till just a day or two ago. And this cloud has been lifted from me. Thanks to you all for this. I'm telling you, I'll go back to that. I resented that, and I fretted about that about every 3 days. I think about it. Every 30 years. So now I have my retirement party. I want to thank you all for coming and doing this because it really is touching. I am touched. Where's Joy? She thought I'd be crying.
You have to cry.
I'm close. But thanks everybody for showing up.
I think Marty's got a couple of, or Jim's got a.
Yeah, something that the crew helped me put together. Dave was part of it, mechanics was part of it, and the whole crew knows about it. So I present you with the award. It's made from parts of the Ptarmigan.
That's what I need, rusted metal.
Wrenches there? Nice.
Oh, man.
This wood is the wood that come out of the building.
All right.
Dave donated that. Piston come out of the rebuild of the port engine. We got a world clock
Who
up
made
here.
this?
So
Did you make this?
it is made in Anchorage. And then this is a picture of you playing in the ice. And then your little saying here says, Captain Tom Callahan, thank you for 22 years of service. From the crew of the Ptarmigan, past and present, may you always have fair winds and following seas.
Thank you. I'm stunned. And it's a clock too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here, Tom, we always talked about the building, and
Yeah,
there's a remnant
It
there.
lives in the past.
I didn't want to bring it up, Tom,
So I salvaged before they tore down the building a lot of the railing. I used to polish this quite often. This was my first year there. I was kind of a utility man, and I kept the building up, and I always polished this. So it seems that was kind of a highlight with the ramp. But I recall Captain Tom always coming in, and probably unknown to him, I sometimes watch him, people's mannerisms. I like to watch people. But he would always glide up the hand, and especially when I waxed it, I think he noticed that, and he would just kind of glide it up there. So I took a piece. Tom says, well, Dave, he says, you can have some of that. They're tearing the building down. And I could already see where this was going, so we talked about the building for a long time. But I wanted to present you a coat hanger. Got the railroad spikes, Tom. Tom's dad was big in the railroad.
Illinois Central Railroad.
And,
I still have his watch.
And this
My
was
brother got what I really wanted, his lunchbox.
And this is meant for heavier wear, so forget about retirement down below. This is your home up here in Alaska. So, thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Bruce. I was telling you a little story about Dave. He missed the van one day. His nickname down there has been Save the Day Dave, by the way, but he missed the van one day, and we had enough people we could run, but I was kind of bummed that he didn't show up. And the first bus showed up, coach showed up at about 10:15, and the first person off was him. He got off the bus. I think he flagged the bus down on the Seward Highway.
Well, yeah, Tom said, I said, hey, I didn't get my ride, and Tom says, well, Dave, we really need you down here. And believe it or not, I walked out to the highway from downtown Anchorage, and I started thumbing, and I'm thinking, how, Tom needs me down there by 10:30. Well, it's like 9 o'clock. And I'm thinking, I won't get down there till about 3:30. So I got a ride down to the Armin, you know where that is. I mean, that's, and by the time I was let off there, and the cars are just streaming by me, and I'm thinking, this wasn't a good ride, you know. And then all of a sudden, I heard honk, honk, and a bus went by, a Gray Line bus, and it stopped right there, Potter, you know.
You're not supposed to do this, by the way.
I ran down there.
Look at yours, man. Come on. They must have
But I will name the driver. I ran down there, it was an empty coach, I boarded, and who was driving that coach? But George. He wasn't working at the, but he gave me a ride all the way down, right to the porch and let me off. And I was really surprised, but thank you, George, that saved my job.
We were just ready to pull out, and the bus was there, and the door opens, and down comes Dave. Thank you, Dave. This
Yes,
is
you're welcome, sir.
I see.
All right, so a couple of times we have noticed that you are a big pipe smoker, tobacco pipe smoker.
Not on the grounds.
Not
Personal
Yeah,
grudge.
and one time we were talking about it, and you were saying it would be nice actually one of these days to have a tobacco pipe smoke to actually be made out of ivory there. So. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just that I did it like at the last minute on the last part there, but it's that pipe part is able to come out. So you can actually, if you find a better pipe part, you can actually just.
That's real ivory.
Yeah. It's real ivory there, and it also has a little ptarmigan there.
Don't try this smoking at home, kids, but if you're my age, it's okay. I was in the Coast Guard many years, and one of my jobs, I was XO on a ship. That's the punishment guy. And I had a guy, his name was Atkinson. He was a real menace to me the whole year and a half he was on there. He had enlisted in the Coast Guard to avoid the draft. And 3 days later, President whoever abolished the draft. So he was an issue with me. But when he left, he got transferred. He came up to see me. And he says, Mr. Callahan, here, I made you this. And it was a pipe he'd carved out of wood. I was really kind of touched by that.
Yes.
Had to do it. All right.
Yeah, one other thing, Tom, the crew of the Ptarmigan would like to thank you for your years of service in the Coast Guard. And present you with this.
It's a watch.
Oh.
You didn't know this. I'm a huge fan of pocket watches. Yeah, I have my bed. I just sit there. Well, thank you.
Authentic reproduction of a Coast Guard watch.
I want to say something here too. See, I want to commend some people that are here. George here, Captain George, was my buddy, my best friend, and my relief captain for several years. We had more adventures than we dared tell about. I am so glad to see you here. I also want to come in to introduce you to Lauren. Where are you, Lauren? Come up. Lauren Green was a deckhand for us probably 15 or 18 years ago.
Something like that.
Yeah, she was one of my favorites. She and her buddy Bridget Sullivan, nice Irish girl, had red hair.
Yes, right.
She's a singer. She's an opera singer. We went to your opera once.
Which one?
The one about the Lady of the Night, the Wicked Witch.
Oh, Magic Flutes.
Yeah, yeah. And George went. And we all watched you do your act. Yeah, it was great.
Thank you. It meant a lot to me.
She lives in New York and is one of my favorite people that we ever had. She's the one that taught me something I'll tell all you just for fun. Means nothing. The word Subaru backwards.
Oh.
You are a bus. Look at it sometime. I would like to mention in passing, he isn't here, but my close associate that I was with many years, some of you know him, Bill Lazarus. He was a part of the whole show down there. They kept me out of trouble. I still leave a bottle of whiskey on George's desk, or porch every Christmas for helping keep me out of trouble. That's about it for me, folks. Thanks so much. Are we still eating?
You should probably cut into your cake.
Oh,
You're here.
shall I? Well, line up here. Let's eat.